how are you guys?
Doing so well. How are you?
I'm so excited to talk to you guys. Ciara, I have to say, I grew up watching Big Time Rush and I was a little younger than Katie, and I had brothers, or I have a brother, and I took so much inspo from Katie on how to mess with my
Good.
and everything. So I just wanted to get that out there. And Anne Marie, I adored this film. I just watched it earlier today, and I love that rom-coms are kind of making a comeback, and I think this one is so fun. This film, throughout it, there were so many like authentic moments, and like the dialogue between Eva and Judy and Diane, like just everything felt so real in the problems they were going with, the comedy of it all. Was there a particular moment when you were writing and directing the film, or when you were filming it, Sierra, that you guys particularly loved?
It's so hard to narrow it down because I felt like the chemistry between Marissa and Ciara was just so crackly. It was like our true mother-daughter, love, hate kind of thing going on. Um, and it was just so much fun to watch them sort of bicker and battle over their perspectives of what was really happening, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think one of my favorite scenes, because I have been looking at clips through the movie to pull for Austin Film Festival, but was the one where you guys are in the bathroom
That was
and
my answer. That's crazy.
I mean it's got so much just like mother-daughter angst going on, but also like this love and Marissa's so funny and you're so funny and oh gosh, every time I watch it, I just love it. And the banter and you guys are like talking over each other. It's just so great.
I also think that's just such a deeply relatable moment. I mean, anyone with a mother, I think, knows exactly what that feels like. That deep love, but like you're so frustrated. You're so frustrated with them. And it's like, I don't know what to do anymore. But it's like knowing at the same time, like, I am who I'm gonna be. I know that you are who you are, and that's not gonna change right now. So how do we find a way to meet again?
Yeah.
And I think that scene, it's like it's realizing that in that moment.
One of my favorite things I was going to say is I thought Eva as a character was so relatable, and I thought it was fun that as soon as her mother showed up, she knew what was going on. It wasn't this huge secret that the mom was not approving of what was going on. She was like, please, like, stay in your lane. Like, I got like all that. That also brings me to Sierra, what was it like when you learned you were going to be playing opposite of Marissa Tomei as your mother?
So exciting. I think all of us can relate to this feeling of, I mean, Marissa's an icon. Like growing up, I thought that she was one of the coolest women in Hollywood, and I'm like, this is an unbelievable opportunity. I was beyond excited.
Were there any like real mother-daughter moments that you really loved filming or that you had the most fun doing?
I think that moment on the beach and the moment in the hotel room was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like throwing Sherry into the mix, things just become beyond magical. And I think the three of us together, I just had a blast. I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm hanging out. Like we're
Yeah.
drinking wine, we're laughing, we're dancing, we're listening to music. It's cozy. I feel safe. I couldn't have asked for anything more.
One of the first people I got to interview as a student at the University of Texas was Sherry Cola, and I have just loved watching her career, blossom since then. And her in this movie must have been so fun. Like, just I was laughing at everything she had to say.
Yeah, she's so good at what she's an easy person to root for.
Anne Marie, I know this was one of you said you kind of based this on real experiences you've had, and you also have like a psychologist background. What made you want to kind of tell the story through the lens of the mother figure, wanting to protect her daughter?
Well, I think for me, yes, I dated a narcissist in my
Yeah.
20s. I did not know the term. I didn't even understand what really narcissism was, even though I was working on my second degree in psychology. The only thing they taught us in school about narcissists were, narcissus, the
Mm.
mirror, look at they're self-absorbed. I was like, but everybody can be self-absorbed. I didn't quite understand. But I was telling, I tell this story quite a bit when I was going to cast to just explain sort of like where the inspiration for the story came from which was that, I had this narcissistic relationship. It really affected me. I was a very naive, open-hearted, empath. I was doing psychology. I wanted to be a counselor, and this person came into my life like a freight train and just like plowed me over. And it took me years to kind of figure out what had happened and that this was more than just a bad boyfriend.
Mm.
And then, it was funny because writing the script from the perspective of the mother-daughter, I think that's just like one, it kind of came from this idea that a therapist, a friend of mine who had gone through a narcissistic relationship, this therapist was the one that brought her this information. And I was like, wow, I wonder what it would be like if I had been a therapist and I still, married a narcissistic guy. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what that would have looked like. So I think that's kind of the original inspiration. But the more I wrote and rewrote the script, it really came out as Judy's story.
Mm.
And I feel like there's a bit of Judy in me and maybe a bit of Judy in everybody who is a skeptic and who has been burned by love and is very, needs to sort of protect people because she couldn't protect herself. And so that's kind of where she was born. And, I just want to say that like working with Marissa and her stepping into that role was a dream come true. I too was absolutely thrilled and beyond, it was like beyond my wildest dreams that she would do the movie. So she stepped into that role and just took it to the next level.
No, that's amazing. I totally love how you were saying, um, you wanted to tell it through that lens because as I was watching it, I related because whether it's like your friend or it's yourself that's been through that, or, a daughter or a mother or someone, like you just feel so protective and you want to, get in there and almost shake them like you're dating a narcissist. And yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Ciara, I would love to know, unfortunately, it happens to women of all ages, but it's, so hard when you see someone in their 20s going through this, who's dating someone who is manipulating them. What's something you hope younger women might relate to in your character?
I hope it's the resilience, because I think what I find so admirable about Eva is the way that she's able to come through the other side of this, a stronger person. I think this kind of heartbreak has the potential to completely devastate a person, and I know it requires so much strength, both internally and from like a great support network to be able to rebuild after that kind of loss. Um, and I have it just makes my heart smile knowing that like the character of Eva was able to do that. And I hope that anyone who watches this and can relate to her relationship in some way, shape, or form sees her as a source of inspiration for knowing what they can become.
So, yeah, sometimes, you see it in real life. People will be like, no, this was all my fault. I let this happen. It's like, no, you were taken advantage of, which I just
Yeah.
thought that was such a refreshing thing to be said.
But I
And
also,
yeah.
that's a hard perspective to have when you're in the midst of it, because it's
Yeah.
so easy to be like, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? But I think it's because she had the mom she had. It's like without a Judy, she wouldn't have known. No, yeah, you're right. It is his problem. So I hope that like this film can be a Judy for people.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I love that. Oh my
I love
God.
that.
Oh, Anne Marie, I know this was your first feature debut film to direct. Do you have, now that you've done that, do you have any advice for anyone who might come from your background or wants to try directing?
Well, I say absolutely go for it. One of the things that I figured out about myself, as I was learning how to write and going through the process of like breaking into Hollywood and trying to make films, it's like everyone's going to be in there to tell you no. So don't be the person to tell yourself no.
Mm.
Be the person to tell yourself yes, and just see what happens. Just keep going. Even if someone else tells you no, just say no. Yes, I'm gonna do this.
Judy has her show where it says all Judy. Do you think you'd ever do something like that?
Yes, well, couple things. Yes, have mentioned the podcast to me, and we're thinking about it. But in the interim of us, finishing the film and figuring out how we're going to release it and everything, I ended up writing the book that appears in the movie You're Dating a Narcissist. And I just was like, as I was watching the film, I was like, why didn't I should write this book? Because Judy has written the book, You're Dating a Narcissist. That's how we kick off the movie. And I ended up interviewing all the people along the way that I met as I was like trying to develop the story and trying to like, does this have legs? Like, could this be something, people would tell me their stories. I just got my teeth cleaned a couple weeks ago and I told them I was coming to Austin for this movie and all the ladies were like, we got to tell you about this. We got to tell you about that. And so I'm actually really thrilled that we got the book written and that, we'll have actually a couple of early run books here at the Austin Film Festival as gifts. So, and I will tell you that the book is written from Judy's like voice,
Oh, I
the
love
voice that
that.
I wrote the script in, and so it's kind of like like a little cheeky self-help book.
I
You know,
love that.
it's kind of
Yeah.
rated R.
I love that so much.
Me too.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
so good.
The rom-com is like my favorite genre. And I loved this one. This is going in my box of rom-coms I'm going to go back to as like comfort watches and everything. Is there a rom-com character or a couple from a rom-com that you think could use some intervention from Judy, Eva, and Diane?
Whoa, that's a great question.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
I have been asked before, like some of the influences on the film, and because it's on my mind, because the great Diane Keaton has just passed away, I think about Something's Gotta Give. I'm a huge Nancy Meyers fan. I love her work. I love who she is. Not that I know her well, I know her through social media and people telling me stories about her. And hi, Nancy, if you see this, I would love to work with you. But I was going to say that Jack Nicholson and Diane Keaton and Something's Gotta Give. I would say Jack Nicholson at the beginning of that film is very narcissistic, but he doesn't lack empathy, which is really the key to where you're getting like certifiably high narcissistic behavior. So, he's able to change throughout, but I might have Judy talk a little bit with Diane Keaton's character and be like, girl, you are a catch. And, but typically, he kind of opens her up to a whole new world. And then he makes his whole, change at the end where he makes his amends with all the ladies that he's kind of disappointed over the years.
I love that.
That's a great answer. I'm still trying to like rack my brain for one. I'm like, no, I love them all. They're all perfect.
No, that's I'm like, maybe,
In
yeah.
other like hugely dysfunctional ways.
The only one I could think of was maybe, I don't know if they're narcissistic, but they just have some troubles they need to work out, is the How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days couple. I mean,
Classic.
it started
Yeah.
on a huge,
Yeah.
huge,
We have a little excerpt on rom-coms in the book,
so
and that,
fun.
that makes it in there.
Okay, good. Okay, good. I was also gonna add another Diane, a First Wives Club. I feel like just Judy intervening in them getting back at their husbands would be a
I
great.
know.
Yeah, Judy
I
leading the
know. It's
charge.
so
Yes.
satisfying to watch them just do what they do. It's
Yeah.
just the best.
It's an inspirational film. That and Nine to
Yes.
Five are like
I
I'll
love
be going back over and over and over again. Maybe like I think about You've Got Mail occasionally. I don't think they're particularly dysfunctional,
it.
but we can all use a little advice.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. No, I definitely like that, especially because they were kind of an enemies to lovers thing.
They were, and I think that's
Yeah.
why like a little bit of Judy guidance.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, I have to wrap up, but this was such a fun conversation. I really loved this film, and I'm so glad I got to talk to the both of you. Um,
Likewise.
yeah, thank you so much for having
Thank
me. And
you so much.
I'm gonna be telling my friends to watch this movie and get that book. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. It was so nice chatting with you.
Yeah,
Bye.
all right, bye.